Hi guys, happy Wednesday and welcome to the morning after. I am your host, Charlene Joint, and today we are recapping the season premiere of The Bachelorette Season 14 starring Clare Crawley, as far as we know for now. I'll start off by dishing the moment that delivered, which you may remember is brought to you by Skip the Dishes, the food delivery service that will deliver delicious food to your door. And a moment that delivered, it's pretty much just a moment that spoke to me, that I enjoyed. My moment that delivered this week was Clare interrupting the guys who were having a spat. So we're talking about Tyler C. and Yosef. I'll get to that in a bit. But I just loved it when they were kind of arguing across her, and finally she was like, "Gentlemen, I think I have other men I still need to talk to." And she just excused herself, and she was polite, not too polite, and just firm, and she just moved on with her life. I feel like we've been subjected to a few leads now who put a little too much stock into that stuff, and they end up sort of running around like chickens with their heads cut off. And I know it is night one, so she's not really invested in too many people yet. It just showed she had pretty much no patience for any of that, and I think it bodes well for the season. So that was the moment that delivered, brought to you by Skip the Dishes, and don't forget that you can get your perfect match delivered via the Skip app. So overall, I found this premiere a little lackluster, and I don't know if I had just had unreasonably high expectations given our lack of new TV lately, and maybe I was just so excited. The best part of the episode was definitely the beginning, where we saw how the pandemic played into the decisions they'd made, and we saw a lot of selfie videos and just sort of like behind the scenes of how the men boarded their planes and quarantined and everything. You just got to see a peek into how other people's lives are playing out, even if it's sort of in a fantastical scenario. It was just different, and I thought gave us some much needed context. However, it did feel like that time was taken directly from some of the men's time in terms of hometown packages. We didn't see a single hometown package at all. So now we're into night one, and of course we know every season has its own drinking game. With Colton's, it was take a swig every time his virginity is mentioned, or on Nick's season, every time someone says fourth time's a charm. And with Clare, it's definitely the fact that she's 39. Sadly, that seems to be this talking point for her, which totally negates bringing her on as this empowered woman, and her age is just a number, but whatever. I really did enjoy Clare's conversation with Chris Harrison when he asked her what her father would have told her in that moment. And she said, never give up, just show up. Just by doing that, you win. And I've tried my best. To me, this was a real Clare moment. I wrote in all caps, a Clare moment. That raw vulnerability, that feeling that she just opens up her heart and lets you inside. There's no filter, no veneer, nothing. It really has Hannah B vibes in the best way. She's not too polished, and I love that. So with the men, is it just me, or did the guys not feel like fully fleshed out for a premiere? I know every premiere has, you know, the typical hometown packages, and we didn't get any of those because of the whole pandemic segment, but I really found myself missing that. I felt like we weren't getting a ton of personalities. We pretty much got that she was really into Dale based on not a lot that we were shown. Dale's certainly very attractive, but we didn't really get to know much about Dale, period. It was pretty much shoved down our throats that Yosef is the villain based on a couple of little quips and ITM moments. But other than that, whose story did we really learn? Think about it. We know that Dale watched Clare's announcement of Bachelorette on TV. Jason loves the outdoors. And that Blake was the only guy to reach out beforehand, breaking all the rules. Literally, the only names I could remember without having to look them up were Dale, Tyler C., and Yosef. Tyler C. and Yosef because of the drama that happened later on. But other than that, usually there should be someone who's like, even as a sob story or a really cute moment in a B-roll from their hometown package. I really felt like we were missing that. So right now, it's still just a bunch of nameless, faceless men, and I don't know, it's just hard to get invested when you put 2 hours in and you still don't really know anyone's names. It's kind of like, okay. So obviously there are pretty much two main talking points from this episode. The first I am saving for my Flair recap, and that's the whole Claire and Dale thing. The other one is the dramas between Tyler C and Yosef. I mean, what is there even to say about this? Regardless if Yosef is the season's villain, which by the way, I highly doubt he is, simply because the Night One villain is almost never the season villain. A good example is Chelsea Roy from Ari's season. She was definitely the Night One villain, and then she became friends with everyone in the house, and it was all about Crystal. Another one is Lace from Ben Higgins' season. She seemed like she was going to be difficult, and then she ended up sort of recognizing she wasn't her best, and then just sort of went on her merry way, and it turned out to be Olivia. So whenever we're given someone as a villain Night One, I'm a bit like, okay, especially so obviously, like, we get it, Yosef is the bad guy. Nonetheless, I still cannot wrap my mind around the fact that Tyler C thought this was a good occasion to mention anything to Yosef. Everyone knows the cardinal rule of Night One is to lay low as possible. And Tyler C definitely failed at that, and he ended up packing his bags. I found this drama forced, pretty painful to get through. It just took away, again, from us getting to know any of these guys actually, which is a shame, especially for the ones that went home. So I think that's it for the morning after. As you can tell, I just didn't have that much to say about this episode. It sort of felt like we were lacking a lot. Be sure to read my Flair recap, where I do discuss more about Claire and Dale. I'll give you my front runners, and I'll also go into a bit more detail of who my favorites were based on Night One, of the very, very limited amount that we got of each of these guys. Thank you for tuning in.